Um, Geez, where to start? I've been trying to figure out how to start this vlog for about a month and a half now, and kind of really hasn't gone as originally planned. So I've had a couple weeks of just thinking about it, kind of racking my brain, and then kind of a moment of clarity um, as to what to do. And I don't know, I guess I'll start from the beginning. My name is Dave. I'm a snowboarder. I'm currently in Edmonton, Alberta, Bonnie Doon to be specific, and I'm 44 years old. Um, and being a snowboarder, um, a recent goal of ours has been to make a snowboard movie. Um, so I kind of thought the vlog would be the process of making that, us out on sessions, um, really leaning into the whole central Alberta thing, about, we're not in the mountains, we're not surrounded by snowboarding 24/7, so there's more challenges, and not to mention the fact that we're going after street snowboarding, which also produces a lot more challenges. Um, but after spending like about a month just setting up spots and not hitting them and working on trying to get warmed up and not really finding a lot of sessions, and then having those spots melt, I realized, okay, this kind of really isn't happening the way I thought it would. I guess a little bit more about me and my snowboard journey. I started snowboarding when I was 19, and I kind of snowboarded full time as much as I could, all winter, spring and fall, wherever you could, with a couple months off. I did that full time for about 10 years till I was about 29. And at that point, I was like, okay, I'm 29, I'm about to be 30. Let me focus on some other life stuff. My main focus kind of became having a steady girlfriend, and having a steady income. And I just didn't know how any of that could happen while I was snowboarding full time. So I just kind of made a decision to focus on other stuff, you know. So from 2009 till now, what happened was I snowboarded a couple times, um, maybe 2012, 2014. I'd have like a couple little sessions, but that wasn't really my main focus. And I kind of was in a space in my life where I thought my main focus was having a relationship. And, now looking back, I'm like, well, my main focus should have been my life mission. And then looking for a relationship, quote unquote, kind of figuring out my shit first. And just having been dedicated to snowboarding for so long, I just needed a change and was like, what am I doing with my life kind of moment? How is this going to like progress me forward? Let me look into other stuff. Next thing you know, 10 years goes by and that relationship doesn't work out, and I'm just kind of left pondering what to do with myself. So after a lot of soul searching, I realized I just need to do what I'm passionate about. I need to do what I love first and foremost. And at the time I was skateboarding a lot, so I just decided to skate full time and to find avenues inside of skateboarding, to try and find avenues inside of skateboarding to like just sustain being able to live and skate full time, which at the time was doing some filming, trying to do some lessons, and just working odd jobs, just to keep boarding, just kind of with that glimmer of hope. Okay, I'm going to do something cool enough behind the lens that it's going to lead to something that's going to lead to a job, whether it's with an organization or who knows. I don't know, I didn't really have a directive, So fast forward, I end up moving back to Alberta where I grew up, and it started snowing, and I realized somewhere along the way, I realized like I'm still healthy, I can still snowboard, but I'm not snowboarding. Why am I not snowboarding? And that happened 3 years ago. So I just kind of like set out on this mission to find a way to make snowboarding in any capacity my employment. I attempted to do some lessons with kids, and it just didn't really seem like the right thing. I worked at the snowboard shop a bit, and then I came to the realization, well, I think I need to work a job on the side and chase these snowboard endeavors. I need to work a job full time and chase these snowboard endeavors on the side and keep doing that until it works out. So I signed up for an apprenticeship with a plumbing company, mechanical and plumbing company, and I thought it was cool. I like the type of work, and I was pretty happy with working 40, maybe 50 hours a week, and then after work and on weekends, just diving right into snowboarding, and then I got laid off. So I realized, okay, now I can snowboard full time, and I should try and keep trying to find some other avenues to make money inside of snowboarding. That's when I met Andrew at the Glide Factory, and he was gracious enough to like lend me his bass grinder and kind of just trained me and schooled me in tuning boards. And when I got back to Edmonton, I was able to set up a little shop in my garage. And so I realized, like, I think that's what this vlog has to be about, is me in my journey of making snowboarding my employment. I'm aware that I already figured out that there's lots of elements and there's lots of time in work when it's not going to be fun and you got to get up and do it. So I just kind of started treating snowboarding like that. With the snowboard tuning, that's obvious. It's work, and just through talking to people, communicating and riding a lot, I was able to find people that needed their boards tuned, and I liked the work. With the lessons, I was gracious enough to be able to just reflect and view upon what I was trying to do, maybe with younger riders, and an opportunity came up with some older riders who were in their mid-40s to 50s, and an opportunity came up for me to teach people how to like venture into the street and set up a snowboard spot in the street, and how to, observe the environment, the safety, the public, and your own tricks and your own ability to, safely execute a session in the street, and essentially get video clips, because that's the one thing that I love to do more than anything, is set up an environment that isn't made for snowboarding and turn it into one that is. And then so there's that. There's also my own snowboarding journey, which after not snowboarding for so long, I kind of just realized I'm kind of starting over. My first year back snowboarding, I immediately just jumped back into the street and started trying to do skate style stuff. I went out with a local group of guys a couple times, got a couple clips in their video, and I just stuck to stuff that was straightforward, like ollies and 50-50s and finding cool spots, and that fulfills one part of my life. And but to keep that going, you need practice and you need to have a regular schedule of snowboarding. So me going out in my backyard, trying to build a spot for snowboarding for practice, me having relationships with the local hills, navigating the local hills, do they have the right setups? Are they going to provide what you need in order to get all those reps in? So that's kind of what this vlog is going to be about, is me making my way as a snowboarder in central Alberta, and me making my way working in the snowboard industry, and starting my own business with tuning, and starting my own business with doing lessons, and working on trying to make a snowboard film, which is essentially, it's just for the soul. Like, it's just pro bono. Like, there's ideas, obviously, you can package it, we can package it up, we can have a premiere, we can have merch. And those things, would produce and will produce some money to just kind of go back into the project. So there's not really like an idea there of we're going to make enough money to survive off it. And it's kind of good, because if you put that aside and you just focus on what can I show people, how can I show snowboarding, how can I capture my snowboarding and put that in a video, you end up with a better video, I think, anyway. If you're trying to, like, whatever you're trying to get out of it, if you're trying to make a video to show everyone how awesome you are, that's going to come through. Are you that awesome? Or are you going to end up looking, you know, like someone who's trying too hard? You know, are you trying to show that you're having fun in a video? That's going to come across, you know, and you can have fun in many different ways. So I think like everyone knows those videos that like make them hype, to make them fun. It's either the creme de la creme, the guy doing the gnarliest shit, or it's people that are looking at stuff differently, you know. And so looking at what I'm capable of and what my friends are capable of, I'm like, okay, we're going to try and carve our own niche and create something from our environment, you know, a lot of flat areas, a lot of urban areas, a lot of like rural farm areas. How can we show that off in a fun way? And essentially, like, how can we get people hyped to snowboard by showing them like the biggest crux that we live in a flat place. We live in a place that isn't made for snowboarding. And if we can do the snowboarding and show how it's done, and it's addictive. Like, you know, you see people doing something in your backyard and you're like, I can do that. I want to do that. And I realized like that's what this is all for me. Like showing people how I'm going to navigate my business, how I'm going to navigate setting up snowboard spots for us to practice and have fun, how I'm going to navigate trying to organize a video and hit these spots and deal with the weather. It's all just to like fill my own void of purpose and hopefully inspire others, because seeing people be inspired and do stuff because of maybe some actions you've performed, it's an unbelievable feeling. So we're here today in Bonnie Doon, where I live, working on some boards. I got a couple of boards with core shots, so I've put a little bit of epoxy on the core, set it overnight. Now I'm going to add some P-Tex. After that, I'm going to take the dog for a walk because he needs a dog. So we purposely rented a house a year ago near Mill Creek Ravine because it's a featured area of Edmonton that has, you know, it might not be vertical, but it has valley, right? So that's like what we can do around here. So I'm just going to take you along on my life and how my whole life is kind of centered around snowboarding in different aspects. So when I go for a dog walk, I go through the ravine. I have a little spot there. There's other spots. We walk past the ski club, which is just like a 4-minute drive away. And every day when I wake up, I'm doing different elements that are like progressing my snowboarding and my business along, and they all kind of tie into each other. So I thought I would just like try and mic up and try and take you along and try and somehow show this process without it being too much of a crazy workload to edit. My roommate Sam is going to come home. We're going to go to my DIY spot here and get a little session in. We just put a rail in, so we want to try it out. Take you along and check that out, and then we're going to go to Ski Club and check on the jump there that they've been building. I think our friend Gatlin might meet up. I'm working on his board, so yeah, I'll just see how much of this I can film and show you, and that's about it.